My mother, Allison Ramsey, runs an adult boutique. One day, I was so exhausted that I drifted off in the shop. By some freak accident, I ended up getting caught in one of the specialty display beds. When Mr. Palmer from next door walked in, he mistook me for one of the new life-sized dolls. At that moment, the bed's restraints had my hands pinned tight. Then, the mattress slowly hinged at the waist, hoisting my midsection and hips upward and forcing me into a humiliatingly high-angled arch. It was clear this position was designed for a very specific purpose. The realization hit me with a wave of helplessness. I cried out for help, but there was no response. It suddenly clicked. Before I'd nodded off, Mom mentioned she was heading to the back to pull some inventory and told me to keep an eye on the front. Just then, I heard a knock at the door. It was Mr. Palmer, a regular at the shop. I could hear his steady footsteps getting closer and closer. Oh no. Mom had mentioned he'd be coming by today to settle his tab. Panic surged through me. I thrashed around trying to break free, but what looked like soft straps turned out to be incredibly durable. I couldn't budge. Mr. Palmer glanced around asking if anyone was in. His footsteps finally came to a halt right next to me. Trapped in such an embarrassing position, my face felt like it was on fire. In my panic, I just froze, not daring to move an inch. Is this a new model? His words made my heart skip a beat. Then, I felt his warm, slightly calloused hands rest against my upper thigh. He slowly let them slide upward, and to my horror, he reached right into my hot pants. The absurdity of the situation left me drowning in shame and terror. Yet, for some reason, a thrill of adrenaline spiked deep inside me. My logic was screaming at me to speak up and end this. But another, more submissive voice told me to stay silent. He clearly thought I was a high-end silicone doll. If I came clean now, the awkwardness would be enough to make me want to crawl into a hole and die. After all, we were neighbors who saw each other every day. Mr. Palmer owned the antique shop next door and always carried himself with such scholarly grace. A handsome, distinguished man like him wouldn't actually do anything inappropriate with a doll in a storage room, right? I prayed that if I could just keep up the act for a little longer, it would all be over soon. This skin, it feels so real, he muttered, sounding strangely breathless. His warm breath brushed against the back of my knees, sending a shiver of goosebumps racing across my skin. A second later, his large, warm hands were cupping me in my most private place. The sudden contact made me flinch involuntarily. A cold chill swept through me. Did he realize? I held my breath, but my reaction only seemed to spur him on. It even trembles. The technology is incredible, he marveled. Then, with a sudden, decisive movement, he stripped away my underwear. I squeezed my eyes shut, never imagining I'd end up half naked and exposed before a man like this. A wave of overwhelming shame washed over me. The more my mind raced, the less I dared to make a sound. Any chance of fixing this was gone. I was past the point of no return. I could only pray he'd finish up and leave quickly. By now, Mr. Palmer's face was so close, I could feel his heavy breathing on my skin. My body betrayed me with another slight tremor. Along with the crushing shame, I felt a secret, shameful spark of arousal. The thought only made me more frantic. He let out a ragged gasp, whispering that these curves reminded him of his neighbor, Ruby. That hit me like a bolt of lightning, and my mind went completely blank. What did he mean by that? Did he know it was me all along? How could he possibly know what my body looked like? I couldn't think straight. I could only feel his warm hands kneading my hips, his nails lightly grazing my most sensitive skin. As a grown woman, I have my needs, but the touch of his rough, powerful hands was nothing like my own. I bit my lip hard, trying to suppress the rising tide of desire within me. Why was my body reacting so much more intensely than ever before? Mr. Palmer's breathing